Welcome to Clock Shelves Entertainment presents Wrestle, Wrestling Renegades extra segment to lightly entertain, where we take a quick look at a variety of topics that don't necessarily make it into the original Wrestling Renegades episodes and just talk about them for a good few minutes. I am one of the Wrestling Renegades, Paul, joined as always by
Zach.
So we were talking about former TNA Impact stars making their way to WWE. And I think James Storm is supposed to be debuting soon for WWE. Or at least like they're, because I think he has like some more independent dates, but I think they're trying to court him because he was there, I think, in like an NXT thing right before he went back to TNA.
A couple years ago, yeah, he was there for like one set of tapings. He had like two or three matches, and then like that was it. Like it didn't go anywhere. But like his first appearance, he got like a huge ovation. Like the crowd was really into it because I mean it's all Orlando. It's all, that's the land of TNA, Impact, and NXT. So, everybody who was there knew who it was once they saw him.
Right.
Yeah, he got a good ovation. He could be a big deal.
I mean, I think it'd be weird. Then again, I don't get why they start most everybody out in NXT anyway when they're already big names. Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe, but yet AJ Styles went right up to the main roster.
Well, I mean, with Bobby Roode and Samoa Joe and Finn Balor and Shinsuke, they were just there to sell tickets for NXT events. So, the current crop of people are probably going to wind up going to the main roster at some point, so they need to be replaced with a new collection of people that are going to sell tickets. But, they're kind of running out of indie darlings, I think. So, I think it was Velveteen Dream. I don't know if he was in character or not, but he cut a promo on Twitter or something. Maybe it was Facebook where he's like, I'm kind of sick of all these indie people coming in and taking the spots.
Yeah, I think they're
Like,
building that into a storyline.
right. Which I mean, I kind of agree with him. Like that's just sort of NXT. That's what it's become. It's just land of the indie darlings.
Yeah, there's not many people that like straight up come through the performance center anymore, is there? Like they go around the world signing these, former basketball players and NFL stars and just, anybody for like all these open like they went to when they did the whole India push. They were like, the first time ever in India, and they signed people that like were working with the TNA Ring Ka King thing or whatever, and then they like and like then every time it just happened, we talked about it on the show just the other day. There's the two ladies who they were just like, sorry, but we're letting you go because they're, it turns out they don't always have as much money as they think they do. Well, maybe if you actually did something with some of these people instead of, and I'm not saying that some of these people that are on the indies don't deserve it,
Right.
but, try to build your own talent too. Like the only
Yeah.
person, like, and I mean, and especially because who's the person they're pushing is somebody that they try to claim is their homegrown guy, Roman Reigns.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's like kind of the ultimate homegrown guy in the company right
Yeah.
now. I mean, like maybe John Cena, but like he came up from OVW, so I don't know. Then again, OVW was their farm league at the time, so I guess it's the same thing as Roman Reigns because he started in NXT.
Right. But I mean, versus like somebody like, Kevin Owens or AJ Styles or whoever. And I'm not saying those guys aren't deserving, but like they're they were people like they were, like even CM Punk was in like Ring of Honor and all that. As far as I know, like Cena, Styles, I'm not sorry, not Styles, Cena, Reigns, even somebody like Lesnar and like Randy Orton. I don't think they really did much on the indies before they, at least not as big on the indies. Do you know what I mean? Like an ROH or a PWG or something before they signed to OVW at the time, or what would it have been, FCW when it was Reigns?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like these guys, and I'm not saying that one is more deserving than the other, but it's like it's so weird how completely 180 the company is now. It used to be even to the point, and like Meltzer and even Jericho has talked about it, and a bunch of other people have talked about it. Like back when the Radicals showed up, or Jericho, because he showed up before them. Everybody in the back hated them because and like they wanted to bury them and whatever because like they're like, oh, you're the other guys. They jumped from WCW over, and it's like, yeah, but they're not now. Like they're signed to you, they're your guys now. Like why on earth would you bury them? Why wouldn't you basically say like, look, we're actually doing something with them. You're going to know their name because we made you know their name. You know what I mean? We pushed them where the other company wouldn't push them, but they didn't do that. But now you get these people from the indies, like again, like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, even you want to consider TNA and indies, so you get like Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe, or New Japan with Shinsuke and all that, and they take them through the NXT system, and now these are the guys at the top. 10, 15 years ago, Vince McMahon never would have done that. And if he did, they would have never acknowledged so and so was IWGP champion, or the fact that Owens and Zayn have been doing this battle for years, and you know what I mean, like they've been best friends and they've traveled the road together. Like they would never
They
talk about that.
also would have all gotten new names. Like Shinsuke kept his, AJ kept his, Samoa Joe kept his. They'd all be rebranded, not just some of them.
I actually remember reading a thing or listening to a thing where Joe was talking about that specifically. Like when he first came in, they had said something to him about like potentially changing his name. And he goes, Triple H looked at me and goes, you have the copyright on it, right? And he's just like, yeah, of course. And he goes, then we don't need to because it's name recognition, which
Right.
is, like you said, like they would have, years ago, they would have just changed that. It's so weird to think the fact that the company has done this complete 180 in that way.
Yeah, maybe it's just the advent of like everybody has the internet in their pockets now, so like you're gonna find out this stuff anyway. They might as well use it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you really wanted to know that stuff back then, you knew that stuff anyway, because that's
Right.
that's the whole Meltzer and like with the Wrestling Observer and PW Insider and all those sorts of things. They all existed for years. I was actually just not in terms of wrestling, but I was just reading a thing about the fact that like cheat codes don't really exist in video games anymore because now it's all about achievements and you can buy to get extra things instead of putting in a cheat code. And now cheat codes are sort of looked at as like you're not playing the game faithfully versus back when, and it was about this one guy who's basically in charge of like he discovered a bunch of cheat codes, had his dad fax them to this one video game magazine, who then called him and was like, how did you figure this out? Was this on the released version of the game, blah blah blah. And then they like hired him on like a semi-regular basis. They were like, if you could keep providing us with this sort of stuff, like we'll give you a job. And then he worked his way up to be like editor of that magazine and this that, and now he works for like a thing for Microsoft, developing some, not developing, but like helping to promote some of their Xbox games and whatever. And they were talking about how like back then with cheat codes, you everybody, it was sort of understood, one, you never published them until like about 2 or 3 weeks after, even if the company provided them to you, you never published them about 2 or 3 weeks until after the game had already been out, so people could get a good cycle of playing the game regularly. Then these magazines would publish the cheat codes, and it was also a matter of people would want, like the players, like you or I, would say like, okay, well, yeah, they're there, but 9 out of 10 people would be like, let me try to play the game regular first, then I'll go back in and put in the cheat codes and see what's different, what extra levels there are, what I could do different and whatever. Versus suddenly it became everybody started out doing stuff with cheat codes, and then that's when like Xbox revealed like the achievements thing, and then I guess PlayStation came out with their own version, and then it became like everybody looked down on people with cheat codes because basically they're like, you're cheating, you're not even playing the game before using the cheat codes, you're just automatically going into it, and that's not fun. And it's similar with, reading whatever's going on online. And, you can do that, but those things have always been around. It's just now it's looked at as like a weird, it's weird how like all that sort of stuff evolves.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Let us know your opinions on WWE's new version of Developmental. Do you like the fact that they acknowledge the indies a little more? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked our chat about wrestling today in Wrestle, the Wrestling Renegades extra segment to lightly entertain, you can find our podcast that we do. Comes out every Friday on the Clock Shelves Podcast Network. Link in the description below. And we just talk about all sorts of the wrestling news and rumors and all that sort of stuff and give our opinions from that week. So, yeah, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Zach, for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.
Take care, everybody.